Hey, Andreas, how you doing?
Hi, fine. No speak English.
Hey, Mr. Fortis, how are you?
Good. I'm in Cobb, Superior. I'm just letting you know I need to pre-try with you when you get some time.
Okay, we'll probably just set up a breakout room for you to go into, and then we'll talk then. Okay.
Okay, thanks, bud.
All right.
You can let me know once everyone is in. As you come into the queue, can I please have you to type your full name and your email address in the chat?
Cuando ustedes en el área de la conversación pongan su nombre y su email, por favor.
Again, as you come into the virtual trial court queue, please type your full name and your email address in the chat and send it to the Forest Park Municipal Court or FPMC.
Cuando ustedes entran ya a la audiencia en el área de la conversación, el chat, por favor ponga su nombre completo y su email, por favor.
Great. I am going to go over some instructions for virtual court, and the interpreter will have an opportunity to interpret everything that I say.
Voy a empezar a dar unas instrucciones acerca del tribunal virtual y la intérprete va a tener la oportunidad de interpretar todo lo que digo.
My name is Ronald Freeman. I'm the judge here in the city of Forest Park.
Mi nombre es Ronald Friedman y yo soy el juez aquí en el tribunal de Forest Park.
The prosecutor's name is Andreas Maria Rose.
El fiscal es Andrés María Rose.
This is our trial calendar.
Esto es nuestro calendario de juicio.
This is also a virtual calendar.
Además, esta es una audiencia virtual.
Let me go over the rules of virtual court.
Déjeme explicarle cuáles son las reglas de estas audiencias virtuales.
First, type your name and email address in the chat and send it to FPMC.
Ustedes, por favor, envíen su nombre con su dirección de email.
Second, please make sure that there are no distractions in your background.
Además, asegúrense que en el fondo de su pantalla no hay ningún tipo de distracción.
Keep your device on mute until you hear your name called.
Por favor, mantengan su micrófono apagado en mudo hasta que se llame su nombre.
Make sure your video stays on at all times.
Asegúrense que el video esté encendido todo el tiempo.
Please make sure that you are dressed appropriately for court.
Asegúrense que están vestidos de manera adecuada para el tribunal.
Please make sure that there are no hats or any other items on your head unless they are for religious reasons.
Asegúrense de no tener ningún tipo de sombreros o otro tipo de cosa en su cabeza, solo si lo utilizan para razón religiosa.
Because today is a trial calendar,
Porque hoy es un calendario de juicio.
I will call the calendar to see who is here.
Primero voy a llamar los nombres para asegurarme quién está presente.
When you hear your name called, you will unmute your device and announce here.
Cuando usted escuche su nombre, entonces enciende el micrófono y dice presente.
There are a few matters that we will handle first.
Hay unos casos que tenemos que escuchar primero.
We will generally handle the attorney matters first or the officer matters for the officers that are coming off of third shift or on vacation.
Y primero escuchamos los casos de los oficiales que están presentes, aquellos que vienen saliendo de su turno o los que están de vacaciones.
I estimate that this morning's trial calendar will last between no more than 3 hours.
Yo espero que este calendario no dure más de 3 horas esta audiencia.
Please make sure that your schedule
Asegúrense que tienen el tiempo.
is situated so that you are available the entire 3-hour time frame.
para que estén disponibles durante el periodo de 3 horas.
Understand that these recordings are being recorded live.
Ustedes entienden que todo esto está siendo grabado en vivo.
Also understand that there is a video and an audio recording of everything that is taking place in court.
Y de todo lo que se dice de esa audiencia se graba de manera visual y también oral.
Anyone who needs interpreting services will have an opportunity to speak with the interpreter.
El que tenga necesidad de un intérprete va a tener la oportunidad de hablar con la intérprete.
Because today is the trial date, we will conduct trials today.
Como hoy es el día de juicios, hoy vamos a hacer los juicios.
A trial is a legal proceeding in which you are allowed to present evidence.
Un juicio es un procedimiento legal en cual usted tiene el derecho de presentar evidencias.
You also have the right to refute any evidence that's being offered by the city.
También usted tiene el derecho de refutar cualquier evidencia que está siendo presentada por la ciudad.
You came to court on your arraignment date and you entered a not guilty plea.
Primero usted vino al tribunal a su lectura de cargos y usted dijo de que no era culpable.
By entering the not guilty plea, your case was set down on a trial calendar.
Por lo tanto, se le pasó su caso a un calendario de juicio.
Understand all the rights that existed on your arraignment date exist on your trial date.
Entendiendo que los derechos que se le dejaron saber que usted tiene en la audiencia de lectura de cargos es los mismos derechos que usted tiene ahora en este calendario de juicio.
First and foremost, you are presumed innocent.
Lo primero es que a usted se le presume inocente.
Secondly, you have the right to be represented by an attorney.
Segundo, usted tiene el derecho de ser representado por un abogado.
If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, this court will appoint one.
Y si no puede pagar uno, el tribunal va a asignarle uno.
During the trial, you have the right to present evidence.
Durante el juicio usted tiene el derecho de presentar evidencia.
And you have the right to refute any evidence that's offered by the city.
Y también tiene el derecho a refutar cualquier evidencia que presente la ciudad.
You had the right before today to subpoena to court the attendance of witnesses.
Usted tiene el derecho aquí en el tribunal de pedir que testigos vengan a testificar.
And the production of documents.
Y la producción de documentos.
If a decision takes place in this courtroom
Si alguna decisión se toma en esta sala,
that you disagree with,
de la cual usted no está de acuerdo,
you have the right to appeal certain decisions to a higher court.
usted tiene el derecho de apelar esa decisión a un tribunal superior.
The reason why we are asking that you type your name and email address in the chat
La razón por la cual le pedimos que escriba su nombre y su email en el área de la conversación,
because this is a virtual court.
porque esta es una audiencia virtual.
You will receive your plea form and all court documents through your email.
Usted va a recibir todas las contestaciones a los cargos y los documentos por email.
You had the right before today
Usted tiene el derecho hoy
to request a jury trial.
de solicitar un juicio conjurado.
If you requested a jury trial,
Si usted pide un juicio conjurado,
your case would be bound over to Clayton County.
su caso va a ser enviado al condado de Clayton.
You have waived your right to a jury trial
Si usted renuncia a un juicio conjurado
and requested that your case be tried here in Forest Park.
y usted está pidiendo que el caso sea escuchado aquí en Forest Park.
When you hear your name called, if you will please unmute your device and announce your plea.
Cuando usted escuche su nombre, por favor, enciende el micrófono y diga cuál va a ser su respuesta.
If you enter a not guilty plea, we will conduct a trial today.
Si usted dice que es inocente, entonces vamos a hacer el juicio hoy.
If you change your plea to guilty or nolo contendere, we
Si
will
usted-
not have a trial.
Si usted contesta que es culpable o no lo contendré, entonces ya no hay juicio.
And we will dispose of your case without a trial.
Y vamos a tomar la decisión de su caso sin juicio.
Mr. Prosecutor, I know you had two cases you wanted to deal with first, sir. If you want to go ahead and call them.
Señor fiscal, yo sé que usted tiene dos casos que tiene que tratar. Por favor, llámelos.
And I think one of them is Darcy Thomas.
Uno es Darcy Thomas.
Is Darcy Thomas available? Darcy Thomas. Is the witness Beatrice Gonzalez?
Beatriz González, testigo.
Presente.
Present.
And is Officer Bishop present?
Oficial Bishop.
I see her on the screen.
Okay, so it sounds like, let me sound for Darcy Thomas again. Is Darcy D. Thomas present for court at 8 o'clock on August 31, 2022?
I'm fixing to put you in there.
Darcy Thomas. That will be an FTA for Darcy Thomas. Witness Beatrice Gonzalez, an FTA will be issued for Mr. Thomas, and you will be notified of the new court date.
Entonces, señora González, eso se llama que no compareció a la audiencia. A usted se le va a mandar un documento en el cual dice que Darcy Thomas no se presentó a la audiencia. En inglés se llama FTA.
Okay.
Señorita
Okay.
Gonzalez, make sure that your name and email address are typed in the chat so we can notify you of any new court dates.
Asegúrese, por favor, señorita, de que su nombre y su email está en área de conversación para que se le notifique a usted acerca de las audiencias.
Okay. Listo.
Officer Bishop, we can
Ready.
let Officer Bishop know that they're released as well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next, I believe, was Officer Sparks. Is that correct?
Yes.
Eso es todo.
Is Quint Collins? Quint Amore Collins, who's charged with speeding and failure to maintain lane.
Insurance, Judge.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, thank you. Speeding and failure to maintain insurance. Quint Collins is FTA. And the FTA will be issued. We can release Officer Sparks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, now let me go back to the beginning of the calendar. Adatola Adebumi.
Judge, that's Scott Fortis.
Okay,
He's
we'll
in-
hold for that. We'll
Please.
hold for you to pre-try.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Glendale Arnold.
He's here, Your Honor, in the lobby.
All right, Mr. Arnold, what is your plea to the driving with a suspended license charge, sir?
He asked, what was your plea?
Is it not guilty, guilty, or no low contendere, sir? All right. Do you have something showing you had a valid driver's license on that day and at that time, sir?
Yes, sir. From the DMV office. That they had to search and find out who and why my validated was supposed to be on file to be suspended from due to failure in court. When it came to court, they just didn't take it out of the system. And this happened 2 years ago. That from that date,
Had you had your license reinstated?
when Forest Park stopped me.
So let me ask you this, Mr. Arnold. It looks like the offense date was December 3rd, 2021. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
On that day, was your license in suspension?
No, sir. They gave me the paperwork here for me to be able to get my official notice of that my license, they were informing me that my license are suspended at that point.
Okay, I will call your case for trial momentarily, sir, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Jordan Collins.
That was a bond forfeiture on Mr. Collins' cases.
Okay, There's a bond, Jordan Carmel Collins. There being no announcement, it's bond forfeiture for the cases. All right. Bahanu Dallas. Bahanu Dallas. That is an FTA. Ariana Gray. Ariana Gray. Devonta McAllister and Jordan Mims are the witnesses. Devonta McAllister and Jordan Mims. All right. Ariana Gray. That is an FTA. Frederick Hodges. Frederick Hodges. That is an FTA. These FTAs are at 8:30. Crystal Lewis.
Here.
Crystal Lewis.
Here.
Ms. Lewis, what is your plea to the lane charge violation?
Not guilty.
All right, is James Hall and Anita Deal Gray available? James Hall here. All right. All right, we'll be ready to go forward with that case momentarily. Thank you. That one's a trial, Mr. Prosecutor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Reginald Lewis. Reginald Lewis. Here. What is your plea to the light violation, sir? And you have a lane change and a seat belt. You have 3 different charges.
Okay, they ran all those together because I couldn't get in to pay them because the officers were not here. But the seatbelt violation I'm guilty of, and I want to pay that. The signal lights, he told me to bring evidence of that being fixed. I have that on my phone.
And the court will consider that, but of course the officer doesn't dictate what we do in the courtroom, okay?
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, all right.
And,
And then the other one is a lane change charge. What is your plea to that?
Not guilty.
All right, so it's guilty on the seatbelt. It looks like you're saying guilty on the brake light, but you've gotten it fixed. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then on the lane change is not guilty. Is that correct?
Not guilty, sir.
Okay, thank you. Julia McClendon. Julia McClendon.
Present, Your Honor.
All right, young lady, what is your plea to the tag charge and the failure to yield charge?
The failure to yield charge, I pledge not guilty, and the tag charge, I was guilty, and I fixed it.
Okay, so we will call your case for trial momentarily on the failure to yield. Is Shanteria Walker available? Shanteria Walker, that is the witness. All right, we will call that matter for trial momentarily, Ms. McClendon, and thank you.
Thank you.
Donna Mincy. Donna Mincy.
She's on the line, but she's muted.
Hold on, let me, yes, sir.
Ms. Mincy, what is your plea to the loitering charge? Not guilty, guilty, or nolo contendere?
I'm not guilty.
Okay, thank you. Is Unique Lockett and Levita Hayes available?
Levita Hayes here.
All right, thank you. We will call that case for trial momentarily. Thank you. Karis Mollett.
Here.
What is your plea, Ms. Mollett, to the traffic control violation?
Not guilty.
All right, thank you. We'll call your case for trial as well. Malcolm Morgan.
Here.
All right, Mr. Morgan, your officer has a legal excuse for not being here. This is the first trial calendar, as I understand it. You've entered a not guilty plea. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, for the blue light.
Okay. All right. Had you placed some non-factory lights on your vehicle? Or were they some non-factory lights on your vehicle?
It was on the glow, but when I got pulled over for the failure to yield, he said my lights was blue, and I didn't even know my lights was on. And when he told me to turn them off, I couldn't turn them off. I had to literally disconnect by hand.
Okay. So
And I
I
told-
guess what I hear you, I'm not
Oh.
understanding then. It sounds like, so you're, okay, let me back. What is your plea on the failure to yield, sir?
Oh, that was guilty.
All right, and then on the restrictive blue light charge, what is your plea on that?
Not guilty.
Okay, we're gonna just need to reset your case because your officer has a legal excuse for not being here today. So they're gonna give you a reset court date. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you want me to keep this case in Forest Park or do you want it bound over to Clayton County where you can have a jury trial?
Forest Park.
All right, we will keep your case in Forest Park. We will give you a reset. Everyone, please make sure that your email address and name is typed in the chat and sent to FPMC. James Munster, you can go back and mute yourself, Mr. Morgan.
Your Honor, Mr. Munster was a bond forfeiture also.
Thank you. James Munster is a bond forfeiture. Dejan Peavy. Dejan Peavy. Dewan Peavy. Dewan Peavy.
This is James Munster. I needed to know what that just said about bond forfeiture.
Then you're not a bond forfeiture. What is your plea to the following two closely charged, sir?
Not guilty.
All right, thank you. We'll call your case for trial momentarily.
Now, I do have a one quick.
What is your question, sir?
I sent money in just to make sure that if this Zoom thing doesn't end up coming through for me, and I want to see that that's there.
If you have already paid this ticket, sir, your case has already been adjudicated.
Do they
So
show that?
Are you saying that you've already paid the fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that probably, if you wanted to have a trial, you probably should not have done that. Okay, by paying the fine is tantamount to entering a guilty plea. I will come back to you. I will come back to you. Let me verify with the clerk's office whether or not the fine has been received. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Dewan Peavy. Dewan Peavy. That is FTA. It is 8:37 a.m. Leonel Ramirez. Leonel Ramirez.
That case has been reset.
Okay, and we've notified the witness as well.
I did call them.
Okay, thank you. Billy Strickland. Billy Strickland. It is FTA. It is 8:37 a.m. And then I've already called Darcy Thomas, and that's an FTA. So that takes care of the calendar. Mr. Prosecutor, you can decide. It looks like the first trial is Glendale Arnold.
Yes, Your Honor. We have Officer James ready.
I'm trying to look at Mr. Arnold's driving history to see if his license was in fact suspended on that day.
So Judge, I'm showing that there was a suspension on 6/29 of 2020.
Was it ever reinstated?
According to what I'm showing it was not. I'm sorry, it was because there was, so this suspension occurred from Hateville for a failure to appear back in 2020. It looks like there was an issue date of a new license reinstatement on December 9th of 2021. And he received the ticket on December 3rd of 2021. So at the time, it shows that it wasn't reinstated until after the ticket was issued.
All right. Do you understand that, Mr. Arnold?
really couldn't make out everything that he was saying.
Okay, so it looks like you didn't reinstate your license until December the 9th, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
because
but you got this ticket on December 3rd. So at the time you were stopped, it was in suspension. Do you understand that?
can I ask the question that they
Certainly can.
Okay. In Forest Park system, I was just had an accident, hit a person. Crime scene detectives, everybody ran me, no violations, no nothing. I've
What
been
day was this?
November the 11th.
Of 2021.
Yes, sir.
Your license was in suspension on that day, sir.
They let me go.
They probably did. But just because
They
an
never took,
officer,
they took my license and gave them back to me.
maybe they did, sir, but that doesn't mean that they weren't in suspension.
But how would I not know when the violation that they said I didn't appear to court? I'm incarcerated in Clayton County system. I have paperwork from my mother that came to court and reported with proof of incarceration that I'm incarcerated. They did not
Do
reset
you
the
have
date.
that with you today?
I have to go out and get it.
Okay, well, let me just say, if you were incarcerated on the day that you missed court, that goes a long way. But please understand, without that, your license was in suspension on that day, and we're gonna have to deal with that. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So what I will do is give you some time to, I don't know what the FTA, Mr. Prosecutor, do we know when the FTA was in Hapeville?
It
Yes,
was
Judge,
on,
it was actually on December, the disposition date was December 30th. Well, no, because it has gotten, the date shows a 19 or 999.
All right. So Mr. Arnold, you can go to the car and provide to us your dates of incarceration. If they match up with the FTA, I have no problems giving you some credit for that, sir. But please understand you were driving a car at the time when your license was suspended, okay?
I'm aware of that, but
Now, let me say this,
something,
we can go forward with the trial.
right, but I'm looking at
understand, if
something
you
that
are
I'm
convicted-
unaware of, that David was not even aware of, even to Hateville.
Okay,
The way that I found, even Forest Park could not find out who had me failure to appear. At the
okay,
DMV, they gave me paperwork to go to the DMV and search out through the DMV. Who has this? Even the DMV had a problem to finding out it was Hateville because it had been so long that where it was impossible if I was incarcerated and the date and things that they went by that, and I'm issued, have my license, had a accident, actually almost murdered, and they give me my license back and don't even charge me with the crime. My mind would not think that in no way that I'm driving with suspended license.
okay. So let me tell you how driving with suspended license works. It really has nothing to do with what your mind thinks. We have to go by what your official public records say. So I'm gonna give you an opportunity to go get evidence that supports what you're saying. But I'm letting you know without that evidence, I'm going to have to rely on the fact that they were in fact suspended on the day of the incident. So you go to the car, get whatever you like to get, and bring that back, and I'll call your case up at the end of the calendar.
Okay, yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Let's go to the next person, which is your would be Crystal Lewis. And this is Officer Principe. And we have two witnesses, James Hall and Anita Deal Gray.
Yes.
All right. Everyone, please turn their video on. And Mr. Prosecutor, you can go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. Everybody's going to testify. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending before this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Your Honor, Ms. Lewis is before the court because on October 22nd of 2021, she received a citation for failure to maintain lane. Officer Principe is the officer who issued that citation. Officer Principe, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Ms. Lewis?
Yes, sir, I did.
Was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, sir, it is.
Are you a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
Yes, sir, I am.
Can you briefly state the nature of the contact that you had with Ms. Lewis?
The contact I had with Miss Lewis was she was a driver in a traffic accident in the 4700 block of Jonesboro Road.
Okay, and you were dispatched to that location, correct? You did not witness the accident?
That's correct.
And when you got to the scene, you made contact with the driver, and I believe there were some witnesses in the other vehicle. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You took statements from everybody, and then you did your preliminary investigation of the damage to the vehicles, the location of the accident occurred. Is that accurate?
That is accurate, sir.
And so after your investigation, you determined that Ms. Lewis was at fault and you charged her with failure to maintain lane. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And during the investigation, did Ms. Lewis say anything to you that you can recall that led to you issuing the citation?
I don't recall about anything Miss Lewis said, but I issued the citation based on statements by the witnesses and the physical evidence of visible damage to each vehicle.
Okay. Nothing further for this witness at this time, Judge.
All right, Ms. Lewis, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer?
Yeah. When I spoke with the officer, the thing is that I had drew a diagram of what actually happened, and I stopped because the gentleman on the right hand side.
So Ms. Lewis, let me help you out a little bit. This is the phase where you ask the officer questions. So I need for you to frame this as a question. If it's a statement, you will have a chance to present your version. So do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer regarding his testimony?
No, what he's saying is correct.
Okay, so you do not have any questions, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Prosecutor, would you like to call your next witness?
Yes, Your Honor. So the next witness that I have for the city is James Hall. Mr. Hall, you're present, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Hall, were you involved in a motor vehicle accident on sorry, let me get this back to October 22nd of 2021?
Yes, sir.
Were you the driver or the passenger in the other vehicle?
I was the driver.
Okay. Could you state to the court how the accident occurred from your position?
Well, I was driving up Jonesboro Road, and I noticed she was pulling out in front of me. So when she pulled out, which I was in the right lane, she pulled over into the left lane. And as she proceeded to pull over into the left lane, I proceeded to pass her. And as I commenced to pass her, she got back into my lane, which caused me to swerve and hit another vehicle.
Okay, so let me just make sure that I understand what you're saying. You were traveling on the roadway and you were headed straight forward. You saw the vehicle driven by Miss Lewis merge onto the roadway that you were on. Is that correct?
Yes.
And as she was merging, this is at least a 2-lane road. As she was merging, she crossed over your lane into the left lane. Is that correct?
Correct.
As she did that, then she not overcorrected, but then she merged back into the right lane where you were traveling.
Yes, sir.
And then you at some point had to swerve to avoid that collision. And in doing so, then you made contact with another vehicle. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. No further questions for this witness, Judge.
All right. Ms. Lewis, do you have any questions you'd like to ask this witness?
Yes. When I pulled in the lane, I basically stopped. I stopped. He was still going.
Now, let me just say this, Ms. Lewis. Remember, this is the phase where you ask questions. Do you have a question?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead and ask the question.
Okay. When I pulled in, were you not on the right-hand side of me when I stopped?
I never saw you stop.
I had to stop because
Okay, so Ms. Lewis, you know that's not a question. So
Okay,
you've asked
I'm
a
sorry.
question. That's okay. You're gonna get, let me tell
I'm
you
sorry, I'm
something.
new to this. I'm new
I
to
know,
this.
but let me say this to you. You're gonna get a chance to talk and to tell me what happened. Okay, but
Okay.
right now with the witnesses, you just want to ask them questions. So your question to him was, did you see me stop? He said, I never saw you stop. So if there's another question you want to ask, you can ask.
No, that's it.
Okay. Does the city have any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. The city will call Anita Deal Gray. Ms. Gray, on the date in question, were you involved in a motor vehicle accident where Mr. James Hall and Ms. Crystal Lewis were also involved in an accident?
Yes,
And you were the driver, the passenger of the vehicle that you were traveling in?
I was a driver.
Okay. And could you state to the court how the accident happened from your position?
I'll try. I was, my vehicle, I was waiting to turn left. I was just coming out of the parking lot of Value Village thrift store. And I waiting to make a left turn. And I continued to look like back and forth, because the traffic was, it was moderate, okay? When I made my, as I was looking to make my left turn, I was able to look further down the road to see that there was a big white truck. And that was the only vehicle that I was able to see. So first thing came in my mind, well, I'm gonna wait till this truck, because I didn't know how long the truck would be. The next thing that I knew was that the truck was in the left lane and it was trying to come to the right lane. And again, I looked to my right. I knew I wasn't able to make the left turn because this truck was right here. And then when I looked back to my left, that's when I saw this black, I guess it's an SUV. And it was like in the, about the middle. It was like right behind that, the truck wheel, the truck passenger wheel. And then next thing I knew, it started coming towards me and I kind of like froze and then it hit me.
Okay.
I don't know, that's the.
So let me just make sure that I understood your testimony, and forgive me for paraphrasing, but from where you were positioned, you saw the vehicle, the big white truck,
Right.
in the merging or at least getting over into the right lane where the vehicle driven by Mr. Hall was. You said that the vehicle that he was in was positioned in the middle of the truck behind the passenger wheel. Is that?
The first time I saw the white truck, it was waiting per se down by the light. It was waiting at the light. And, you know, I continued to look like back and forth, okay? Because I knew that the traffic from south going north, it seemed to be somewhat, you know, heavy. So I knew that I couldn't make a left turn. When I looked back to my left, that's when I saw the truck. It was in the right, it was in the left lane. That's when, boom, when I saw the black SUV, it was right there. I mean, it happened so fast. It was like right there, like midway to the truck. And I momentarily I saw a white truck as the wheels began to make a turn to get into the right lane. That's when the black truck came about and came like landed hit the front of my Kia vehicle. I thought it was going to hit the fire hydrant, but it didn't. It came and hit the front of my Kia.
Okay, I believe I understand. All right, no further questions for this witness, Judge.
All right, Ms. Lewis, do you have any questions you'd like to ask this young lady?
Yeah. When you saw me, I actually stopped. When you saw me, did you see me stop?
I'm not, I won't say that I saw you stop because I was steady looking back and forth, just back and forth, like that. But I do recall that you were trying to get into the right lane. The person, oh, she's trying to get in the right lane. And then boom, that's when he came about. It was so quick. Understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. I remember that part because I saw you waiting.
Say that
I saw you
I
waiting.
actually saw the vehicle completely stop because I'm steady, I'm looking back and I'm looking forward just like that. But I do know from my memory, I know that you were in the left lane and you were slowly going to come over. You were slowly coming into the right lane. And that's when I saw him, he was like, like, this is your truck. And he was like right there and like your wheel is here. And he came right in the middle, like he was like midway in your vehicle, your truck. I wish I can, if I had I can show you with the, kind of
I understand.
explain, but
All right. Okay. Ms. Lewis, do you have any other questions?
No, I don't.
All right. Does the city have any other evidence?
No evidence, Judge. City rests.
All right. The city has rested, Ms. Lewis. You can now tell us what happened.
Well, I was going to, actually, I turned into the plaza. But first of all, before I got to the plaza, I slowed down. The gentleman in the black vehicle, I saw him on the side. He's flying. He's driving pretty quickly. I saw her in the front. I stopped because in that truck, what a lot of people don't understand, you have to swing out in order to turn in a 53-foot truck. And so what I did was I turned into the plaza. Once the gentleman hit her, I turned into the plaza and I waited for my boss because I had called him, and I waited for him to get back in touch with me. But that's how it happened.
Okay. Let me ask you something, Ms. Lewis. Was there any contact between you and Mr. Hall's vehicle?
No.
Okay, so Mr. Hall's vehicle ended up impacting Ms. Gray's vehicle. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, all right. Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any questions, sir?
I don't have any questions, Judge.
All right, is there anything else you'd like to say, Ms. Lewis?
No.
All right. First of all, I want to thank you all for participating in the virtual court. I've listened to the testimony. What is the charge on the ticket?
Your Honor, it's failure to maintain lane.
Okay, all right. Mr. Lewis, Ms. Lewis, you've been charged with failure to maintain lane. This sounds like it is a three-party accident, but the actual impact occurred between Mr. Hall and Ms. Gray. Although Mr. Hall's position is that it was your conduct that led to him hitting Ms. Gray's vehicle. So let me ask, this happened back in October of last year. Has insurance been involved and has all vehicles been repaired?
Yes.
No, sir.
Okay. Whose vehicle has not been repaired?
Mine was a total loss.
Okay, but it's been taken care of.
Yes, sir.
Have they paid you for the loss?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so all vehicles have been repaired. Was anyone injured from a bodily injury perspective?
Yes, I went to the hospital.
Okay, and have you hired yourself a lawyer or are you doing something about that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, good. All right. What I'm dealing with today is the traffic offense. And so the standard for this is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So the question is, do I believe that Ms. Lewis's conduct in being charged with failure to yield, or in this case, changing lanes, necessarily caused the accident between Ms. Hall and Ms. Gray? I think that there's insufficient evidence to show that. And for that reason, I find Ms. Lewis not guilty of the violation. All right, thank you all. Everyone is free to disengage from this. Ms. Lewis, you will receive the plea form through your email. Please enter a not guilty plea and send it back. And later on, you will be sent the criminal judgment where you've been found not guilty. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, you all take care.
Thank you.
All right. Your next trial, Mr. Prosecutor, is, I believe it is Reginald Lewis. He had 3 charges. 2 of them he's entering a guilty plea to. The 1 charge he's entering a not guilty plea to. Mr. Lewis?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
Yes,
to
sir.
proceed, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hall, from the previous case, Mr. Hall and Ms. Gray, you all can disengage as well as Ms. Lewis. All right, Mr. Prosecutor, you can go ahead, sir. He's entering a guilty plea on the brake light and the seat belt. He's entering a not guilty plea to the traffic charge.
Okay.
Everyone that's going to testify, if you'll please raise your right hand. Mr. Lewis, if you're going to testify, please raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear? And the officer, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be true and correct based on your information and belief? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, you can go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, Mr. Lewis is before the court because on June 29th of 2022, he received a citation for a improper erratic lane change. That citation was issued by Officer Principe. Let me make sure that I have the right one pulled up here, Judge. There we go. Officer Principe, on the date in question, Officer Principe, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Mr. Lewis?
Yes, sir, I did.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, sir, it was.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
Yes, sir. If you give me just 1 second, I'm having some technical difficulties on my end. It appears I was not sent a full copy of the report, just a copy of the citations. But and it appears that there's citations from different days on here as well. Sir. So I'm not quite sure which one you're referring to.
The only one that he's entering a not guilty plea to, officer, is the one on November 16th of 2021.
Okay, the erratic, the fair to maintain lane.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that report wasn't included, but if you give me a few minutes, I should be able to pull it up.
Was there an accident?
Yes, sir. It was an accident.
Okay, and let me just ask Madam Clerk, do you know if the witness in that case was subpoenaed to be here? Or was it a 1-car accident?
Jerry Ford is listed as a witness. Mr. Ford.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ford, were you a witness in this matter?
Yes, sir.
Let me have you to please raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Prosecutor, it looks like we do have the witness, Mr. Jerry Ford, present.
All right, so Mr. Ford, you have previously been sworn in reference to the accident that occurred on November 16th. Were you involved in that accident?
Yes, sir.
And were you the driver of the vehicle that was impacted by that accident?
Yes, sir.
Can you briefly state to the court how the accident occurred from your position?
Yes, as we was coming down Forest Park, and as I was driving, and he was in the next lane, he started to swerve over. So I blew my horn, and he straightened back up. And as we was proceeding, he came over back onto my vehicle, which when he struck it, it broke my driver's side mirror. And as he went to speed up, his trailer caught my tire, front driver tire. And he was pulling a trailer And as it hit my tire, that's when all this stuff started falling off the back of his trailer. So then when I stopped to get out and look, and somebody helped him put the stuff back on, and he decided to want to pull off. And I told him to pull over to the side, and he started to pull off. So when I took my phone out to try to get his tag number, he tried to slow up and back off, and was saying all kind of different stuff. So I was calling 911 on the other phone so they can try to get to where we was at.
Okay. And so you were there when the officer arrived and you gave the statement to the court at that point, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. No further questions for this witness, Judge.
All right, Mr. Lewis, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Mr. Ford?
I do not.
All right. Does the city have any other witnesses?
No other witnesses, Judge.
All right. So, Mr. Lewis, you had entered a guilty plea on the brake light. You had entered a guilty plea on the seat belt and a not guilty plea on the traffic violation. On the brake light charge, I understand the court will accept your guilty plea. There will be no fine imposed because I understand that you have corrected that. On the seat belt, that fine is $15. On the traffic violation, the court does find you guilty of the violation.
Judge.
I'm gonna give you an opportunity first. I apologize, Mr. Lewis. Let me give you an opportunity to first tell me what happened.
Oh, okay. Okay, we were coming down Forest Parkway, and this I guess is Mr. Ford started to blow his horn. So I pulled over, and he got out shaking his hand like he was injured or hurt or something like that. And at first I didn't stop because I didn't know what his intent was. He said that we had an accident. I ain't felt nothing, and there was no damage to. He said there was a mirror on his truck. If it was a trailer that hit his truck, then I don't understand why his mirror could be broke. Okay, so I asked the officer. I said, officer, after he talked to this guy and then he came back and talked to me and all that, I asked the officer, I said, well, he's saying that I came into his lane. I'm telling you that he came into my lane and there was no damage. And I said, well, how can you determine that it was me that caused the accident? And he told me, this officer, I think it's Municipal, he told me that there was some dust on my tire, a scrubbing on my tire. So I'm like, if there's a scrubbing on my tire, there's a scrubbing on his tire. So I don't think that was a good enough reason for him to charge me with lane change when both of us are saying that this person came into my lane. Okay.
So is your testimony that Mr. Ford came into your lane as opposed to you going into his lane?
Judge, it was, I didn't even feel anything. And that's
I know, but I just want to be sure I'm understanding what you're saying. So Mr. Lewis, is it your sworn testimony that Mr. Ford came into your lane and made initial contact with your vehicle as opposed to you going into his lane and making contact with his vehicle?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because I didn't think either person came into either lane. I know I didn't go into his lane. I can't speak for him. And like I said, there was no evidence other than the fact that the officer said there was a scuff mark on my tire.
Okay. And you had a trailer?
Yes, sir.
On the back of your vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Mr. Lewis, is there anything else you'd like to say?
And I just wanted to let you know that these other charges, they were different. This is not something that's stemming from the same incident.
They're on different days. The brake light was on March 4th.
I just wanted to rectify that.
The brake light was on March the 4th of 2021, sir. And the seat belt was on June the 29th.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so they were different days.
Yes.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Mr. Lewis?
No, sir.
Your Honor.
All right. Is there anything else from the prosecutor?
Nothing else from the city, Judge.
Your Honor.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Lewis, on the brake light charge, again, that incident happened on March 4, 2021. The court is accepting the guilty plea. There will be no fine imposed. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. On the traffic violation, the court finds you guilty of that violation. That fine amount is $250. Are you able to pay that in 2 weeks, sir, or do you need to pay that while being on probation?
I can pay that in 2 weeks, but can I ask you a question, Your Honor?
You can. What is your question, sir?
My question is, what evidence to say that it was mine? That I changed the lane? And what witnesses or what? How did we come to that determination that I violated the lane?
Okay, I came to that determination based on the testimony of the witnesses, which is the testimony that I've heard today. And I'm also looking at the court record today. So, but primarily I'm coming to that based on the testimony of the witnesses that I've heard today. You understand that?
I mean, what did the witness,
Well, let me say this to you, Mr. Lewis. You asked me what made my decision. My decision is based on the testimony today. That's what my decision is based on. It's based on your testimony and it's based on the testimony of Mr. Ford. Mr. Ford said definitively that you came over into his lane. All right. He said that definitively. Then he said that you left the scene.
No,
you
I
said
never
you
left
don't
the
know
scene.
whether he, Mr. Lewis, you've asked me to answer this question, and I'm probably going a little further than what I normally go, but let me explain this to you. Judges make decisions, and oftentimes they become an issue of credibility. On this particular day, based on the testimony that I have received, I find that the testimony of Mr. Ford to be more credible than your testimony. Do you understand that?
I understand that.
Okay, so that's the ruling of the court. Now, here's what you can do when you don't like when a judge rules against you. You can appeal that decision to a higher court, and another judge can listen to the transcript and make a decision if that's what you choose to do. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay, so you have that right. But right now, understand that the fine will be paid within 2 weeks. The fine becomes your appeal bond. And if you do decide to appeal this, another court will decide if the ruling today was correct. If they decide it's incorrect, your $250 will be refunded. If they decide that it is correct, then the $250 then will be paid to the registry of the city of Forest Park. Do you understand that?
I do understand that.
Okay, so now let me go to the seatbelt violation. You've entered a guilty plea to that. The fine for that is $15. So the total fine is $285. You've been found guilty. You will be given 2 weeks to pay this. Are you there at the courthouse, sir?
Is this the courthouse? I am.
Okay, they will give you your plea form and they will give you your 2-week agreement, and you will have plenty of time to decide if you want to appeal this decision. Do you understand that?
Yes. One last question, Your Honor. Is this a situation where I could possibly plead NOLO and still go to a trial?
Well, you've already had your trial and you have been found guilty, so you're not able to tender a NOLO plea at this point. You've had a trial and you've been found guilty, so you cannot tender a NOLO plea at this point.
All right.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go to Donna Mincy.
Judge, I believe we had Julia McClendon.
I'm sorry, that is correct. Julia McClendon.
And Judge, we didn't announce for the witness in that case, Shanteria Walker, and we got no.
Yeah, when we did announce, the person was not present. Is Shanteria Walker available? All right, Mr. Prosecutor, you do not have a witness in this case. Are you able to proceed on that charge?
No, Your Honor. In relation to the failure to yield the right to pay, based on the accident, the city would move to dismiss for warrant of prosecution.
All right, Ms. McClendon.
Yes, sir.
The city is dismissing without prejudice the traffic violation. Do you understand that?
I believe I do.
That means the charge is being dismissed. Do you understand? Yes,
yes, sir. Thank you very much.
The charge is my understanding you're entering a guilty plea to the expired tag. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that by entering into the guilty plea that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
And do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes, sir. Like it was expired. Like it was.
Okay. Are you entering into the plea, young lady, freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
All right, the court will accept your guilty plea to the expired tag. That fine is $165. Are you able to satisfy that in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
I can pay it, but how do I pay it? Can I do it via phone or
Well,
online?
they're going to send you a 2-week agreement that sets out the method of payment.
Yes, sir. Via mail?
They're going to send it to you via email.
Yes, sir. Okay.
That's why we wanted you to have you typed your name and email address in the chat.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you have put your name and your email address in the chat.
Yes, sir. Twice, because the first time I did it in the wrong place.
Okay, and you sent it to Forest Park Municipal Court.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and do we have that, Ms. Yates?
Yes, we do.
All right, then Ms. McClendon, you will receive via email your plea form and the method for you to make payment of the 165.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any other questions?
No, sir, I do not.
All right, well, thank you, young lady. You can disengage from the call.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
All right, take care. Donna Mincy,
Yes, sir.
Unique Lockett, and Levita Hayes.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, you ready to proceed with that matter, sir?
Yes, Your Honor, that was Officer Principe also.
Yes.
So everybody's going to testify. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending? Mincy, well, I guess you do have your hand up. I just couldn't see it. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending before this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
I do.
I do.
Your Honor, Ms. Mincy is before the court because on August 9th of 2021, she received a citation for loitering and prowling. Officer Principe issued that citation. Officer Principe, on the date in question, you have an opportunity to come in contact with Ms. Mincy.
Yes, sir, I did.
Was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, sir, it was.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
Yes, sir. At around 10:20 p.m., I was dispatched to 1320 Rock Cut Road, which is New Citadel of Hope Church, in reference to a suspicious activity call. Pastor of the church, Levita Hayes, contacted police department in reference to a suspicious vehicle, and was where I made contact with Miss McKinney.
Okay, and once you made contact with Miss, you said Miss McKinney or Miss Mincy?
Miss Mincy, I'm sorry, I mispronounced her. That's my error. Miss Donna Mincy.
All right, and so once you made contact with Miss Mincy and you did your investigation, what did you determine in reference to the charge?
Yes, sir. She was issued a citation for loitering because the church is closed after hours, and at this church we've had a lot of suspicious activity and criminal activity, and it is a place that we're heavily enforcing city ordinances. And she was issued citation for loitering due to being there on the property after hours without authorization.
Did she give you any explanation for why she was there after hours?
I don't recall any specific explanation of why she was there. She was with another male subject, Mr. Larry Lockett, and they were inside Lockett's vehicle at the time. And both of them appeared to not know each other very well, and they were both issued citations for loitering.
Okay, nothing further for this witness this time, Judge.
All right, Ms. Mincy, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer?
No, sir, not really.
Okay, so you do not have any questions?
No, sir, I don't have any questions to ask him because I wasn't really I mean, it's not going to be a question. It's going to be a statement because I was
All right.
just.
Okay, well, you'll get a chance to make your statement if you have no questions.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Prosecutor, do you have any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. City would like to call Miss Levita Hayes. Miss Hayes, on the date in question, were you, well, let me ask you, in reference to this particular case, do you have a certain role or position at the location where the incident occurred?
Yes, sir. I'm one of the pastors at the church.
Okay, and were you in, well, just tell me what occurred that led to you being involved in this situation.
Well, we have cameras set up in our parking lot because as the officer stated, we have a lot of people on our property that's not supposed to be up there. So I got a notification on my phone. The video camera has sensors, and I noticed a car up there. So I just called the officer, well, called 911 to let them know it was a car in the parking lot that wasn't supposed to be there.
Okay. And I know that you said that you've had incidents of people on the property that were not supposed to be there. Got alerted by the camera in reference to your testimony. Was there any particular thing about this vehicle that made it even suspicious? Was there a certain time that it was that there wouldn't have been any reason that you could understand anybody would be there?
No, I'm the one that controls the alarm when we do have people go up there that don't have access to the alarm and the keys. I'm the one that turns off the alarm. So no one was supposed to be up there at that time.
Okay. Right. And they were located in the parking lot, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
No further questions for this witness, Judge.
All right. Ms. Mincy, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Pastor Hayes?
No, sir, I do not.
All right. Does the city have any other witnesses?
I believe I heard an announcement for Unique Lockett. Was she on the Zoom? Did I miss
I
it?
don't believe she responded.
Okay. No other witnesses in, Judge.
All right, Ms. Mincy, now you can tell us what happened. You're being accused of loitering and prowling, being in the parking lot of a church during the time that the church was closed, and that they felt that you should not have been there.
Okay, well, Your Honor, that is probably correct, but it was raining one night. I had got off from work and Mr. Locke had come by and picked me up, and you're right, I did not know his name at the time because I met him down at Theater Drive and we were just talking, but I thought that was not a church. I wasn't really paying attention when we pulled up. I really thought it was his house, and I wanted to smoke a cigarette, and I got out of the car because I can't smoke inside. So there was no prowling or loitering or anything. We wasn't even there. I mean, we did nothing wrong. I know that he paid his ticket, and I didn't want to talk to him during that thing because I didn't want to interfere with what I had going on in court. But there was nothing done wrong. I didn't touch her doorknob. I didn't try to do anything. And I wouldn't have been there if I knew it was a church, but I was the passenger.
Okay. All right. Does the city have any questions of Ms. Mincy?
Judge, the city doesn't have any questions.
All right. Ms. Mincy, is there any other evidence you'd like to introduce?
No, sir, that's it. I mean, there was nothing like going on. Like, I mean, we had just pulled up in the parking lot and we were talking and I wanted to smoke a cigarette and I got out. I mean, there was no touching, no sexual, no nothing. Nobody went around and took no doorknobs, and the police had said that, and it wasn't him that, the guy that I just seen, it wasn't him that got my ID and stuff that night either. But it was no nothing. I mean, we immediately pulled up, we discussed, and then I was like, I want to smoke a cigarette. We both got out of the vehicle and we were standing there. And by the time we got out of the vehicle, the Forest Park had swarmed up in the parking lot.
All right.
And that's when I realized that it was a church.
Okay. All right. All right. Ms. Mincy, you've entered a not guilty plea to the loitering and prowling charge. The court does find you guilty. I'm not going to impose a fine. Let's make sure this doesn't happen again. A lot has to do with the fact that you were a passenger and therefore necessarily could not dictate the path or travel of the vehicle. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, you have been found guilty. You will receive your plea form through your email. Have you typed your name and email in the chat?
Yes, sir, I have.
All right, can we confirm that, Ms. Yates?
Yes.
I don't.
All right, let me have you to repeat your email address, Ms. Mincy.
Donna Renee Colvard. DonnaColvard @gmail.com.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You will receive your plea form. You will enter a not guilty. You will receive the criminal judgment of being found guilty, but no fine is going to be imposed. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, young lady, you can disengage. Thank you, Pastor Hayes.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
You can disengage as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Karis Mollett, Mollette.
I'm here.
This is Officer Foster.
Yes, and Judge, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was Officer Principe's last matter.
Okay.
I believe the rest that he was on are FTAs. So if he could be excused.
That is correct, Mr. Prosecutor. Thank you. Yes. Officer, you can be excused.
Thank you, sir. And just I heard you bring up Officer Foster. He is no longer employed with the city, and I don't know if he was included on the email. I did not see it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, y'all have a
All
good
right,
one.
Mr. Prosecutor.
All right, so Officer Foster is not present, correct?
That is correct.
City would move to dismiss for warrant of prosecution on Ms.
All right, Ms. Mollett,
Yes, sir.
the city is not going to move forward with the prosecution of this case, so it's being dismissed for warrant of prosecution. The officer is no longer employed with the city. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Now, have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, sir.
Can we confirm that, Ms. Yates?
We have it.
All right, then you will receive your plea form, to which you will enter a not guilty plea, and that will dispose of this matter. Ms. Mollett, thank you. You
Thank
can
you, sir.
disengage from the call. All right, do we have anyone else in the lobby or any place else anything else we need to deal with from the 8 o'clock calendar?
Yes, sir.
We still have Mr. Munster to deal with. This was the gentleman who went ahead and paid the citation.
Yeah, once it's paid, that closes it out. And so I think they were going to notify him of that.
And let me pop in here to see if Mr. Fortes.
So Mr. Munster?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, once you pay the fine, sir, that closes this matter out. So your case has been closed out.
And so what does that,
In other words, let me just tell you the way the law treats this. When you pay the fine, you are accepting responsibility and it goes in as a guilty plea.
okay. And the reason why I paid it was because last time, the first Zoom that we were on, I was on the same way here. And this was the first one doesn't go to the court with you. And they said that I was a no-show. And I was like, no, I'm here. And then finally, after I held on to the very end of the 4 hours or so that it was, and said, I've been here and I've been on it. And I didn't want to have that happen again and have a bond or have a warrant for me because I'm traveling tomorrow out of state.
Okay. So it looks like you paid the sum of $530. Ms. Prosecutor, Ms. Clerk, did some of that include an FTA fee?
No, sir, it did not.
Okay. So Mr. Munster, let me just say, once you pay that closes the matter out, but it sounds like you want to enter some other plea to this charge.
Yeah, the same one that I had, which was not guilty. It's just for the ticket, sir.
Okay, well, let me do this.
Okay.
I don't know that Officer Green is with us right now, but I can reset you for a trial. And if you want me to just have a trial on this and determine your guilt or your innocence, I don't mind doing that.
Okay.
You will not have the trial today. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you've already paid this. Technically, it is closed out, but I will give you an opportunity to tell me what happened. But I would like to hear the officer here. Was this an accident?
Yes, sir.
All right. So that means someone else was involved as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we will make sure we get the witness here as well. All right. They will give you a reset court date. Do you have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, I believe my email is listed first and my name is listed second.
All right, Ms. Yates, do we have his information?
Yes, we have it.
Now, let me say this to you, Mr. Munster. Oftentimes, if you pay the fine, we release the witness. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So I will see what can be done about getting the witness here. I'm not making any promises to you regarding this matter, but I am the kind of person that believes that everybody should have their day in court. So I don't mind doing that. But in the future, once you pay a fine, that closes the matter out. That fine is accepted as a guilty plea. Do you understand that? And it doesn't matter the reason.
Yes, sir. I understand.
All right. They will give you a reset court date. You understand that? And we'll see what happens, but I'm not making any promises about it. The case has been closed out. I will listen to the evidence and determine if the case should be reopened. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, you can disengage and they will send you your new court date via email.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Your
All right,
Honor?
I see a Mr. Hodges on the phone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've just figured out how to get the audio back on.
Are you supposed to be on the 8 o'clock calendar, or were you a witness?
No, sir. I was on the 8 o'clock calendar. I've been on there, but I couldn't hear
Okay,
anything.
let me just see, because I don't
Page
see.
2.
Yes.
Yeah, bottom
All
page.
right.
Judge.
So Mr. Hodges, you're charged with driving on suspended license. What is your plea to that?
Well, I pled not guilty, Your Honor. I've taken care of that when I.
Maybe you've taken care of it, but I need for you to understand from the court's perspective, I have to determine whether or not they were suspended at the time that the officer stopped you. So this incident happened on December the 22nd, 2021. Were they suspended on that day?
Yes, sir. I believe so. I got a ticket in Alabama and wasn't able to pay it. And when we were moving and my mother-in-law passed, and I have since taken care of that, and I've paid to get my license reinstated here in Forest Park in Georgia.
So then, do you want to see if you're eligible for a NOLO plea? Because if you are convicted of this, it's going to resuspend your license. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. I would like to do that.
All right, I can see if you are eligible, and then you can decide what plea you want to enter. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, can you all tell me whether or not he's eligible for a NOLO plea?
Or
The last NOLO that was used was for an improper erratic lane change. It was in Clayton State Court, and that was February of 2020.
So he hasn't entered one on a suspendable offense, nor has he had another driving on suspended license in the last 5 years?
No, sir. I'm showing that he's good on those two.
Okay. So he has another charge of lane change. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hodges, what is your plea to that charge? Is it not guilty, guilty, or NOLO contendere?
NOLO contendere.
Well, you're not, excuse me, based on what the prosecutor said, you're not eligible for a NOLO on a traffic charge. So it would have to be guilty or not guilty.
Well, I guess guilty, Your Honor.
Well, the officer is here if you want to go forward with the trial. So do you want to have the trial, or do you want to enter a plea?
Oh, well, I received the ticket, rightfully so. I did.
So, sir, what is your plea to the lane change charge?
Guilty, Your Honor.
And what is your plea to the driving on suspended license?
Oh, well, I guess guilty.
Well, that one you can enter a NOLO. Would you like to enter a NOLO plea?
Yes, sir.
Now,
No.
by entering the NOLO plea, sir, you understand you will not be able to enter a NOLO plea to a suspendable offense within the next 5 years. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sir, the court will accept your guilty plea to the traffic charge, and the court will accept your NOLO plea to the driving on suspended license. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You understand that by entering into the guilty and the NOLO plea, respectively, you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
And sir, do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes, sir.
Sir, are you entering into the plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And sir, do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the guilty plea and the NOLO plea, respectively?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sir, the court will accept your guilty plea to the lane change charge and your NOLO plea to the driving on suspended license. The total fine for both violations, sir, are $942. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Sir, are you able to pay that in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
No, sir. I can pay that.
All right. Are you at the courthouse, or do you?
No, sir. I'm at my home.
Okay. Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
No, sir. I didn't.
All right. If you will click on your device, well, let me ask you, if you will just tell them your email address, what is your email address?
Fred Lee 6687@gmail.com.
I have it. Thank you.
All right, so Mr. Hodges, you will receive your plea form to which you will enter a guilty plea to the lane change charge and a NOLO plea to the driving on suspended license. And then they will send you an agreement that allows you to pay this off in 2 weeks. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, the moment you receive this through your email, it will come through DocuSign. Please send it back immediately and make sure that you take care of payments within 2 weeks. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Sir, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, you can disengage from this call and thank you. Officer
you,
Bailey, you can disengage as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any other matters, Mr. Prosecutor?
Judge, we have one person that logged on late, and that's Barhuna Dallas. We had it marked as FTA. They are also on the same page as Mr. Hodges, which would be page 2.
Yes, hello, Barhana Dallas.
All right, you are late for your hearing today, sir, and everyone has been released. What is your plea to this charge?
Of driving with my cell phone, it's a NOLO.
All right. Is he eligible for a NOLO plea?
One moment.
May I ask a question, Your Honor?
You can.
Okay, I was given some legal advice. I just have a question for you. I did have my cell phone in my hand. I was using it to do GPS. I was coming from school to going home. Someone told me I'm just saying this. Someone said if that is the reason, then I could let the court know. I don't know if there's leniency on that or not.
No, that has nothing to do with it. But what the code section says is if you bring to court or show your hands-free device, that the court can zero out the fine.
Oh, fantastic.
So I think that maybe you should not have relied on that legal advice and looked at what's on the ticket and went and looked at the code section. It would have told you what to do.
Understand. Well, I do have a hands-free device that I did purchase. Unfortunately, I drove a different car today. So I don't have that one on me.
Okay.
Your Honor,
He is
qualified for the NOLO.
All right. So, sir, what I'm going to do is, you understand that by entering into the NOLO plea that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
And sir, do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes. Can I ask
Sir,
another question, Your Honor?
You can, but let me finish.
Yes,
Are
sir.
you entering into this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the plea?
Well, that's my question.
All right. What is your question?
Yes, you told the last person that if they enter NOLO, they can't enter that plea for 5 years. How
That is
exactly does
correct.
that work with this charge?
It does. It does. Once you use it, you can't do it again for 5 years.
For any traffic violation?
For
or
any
just-
traffic violation, that is correct.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm gonna plead guilty then.
All right, you're changing your plea to guilty, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, do you understand that by entering into the guilty plea, that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
And sir, do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes, sir.
Sir, are you entering into the plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to accept this. Once the fine of $50 is paid, Mr. Dallas, I'm going to make this a non-reportable offense so it does not show on your record. Do you understand
Thank you.
that?
Yes, sir.
Let's make sure this does not happen again, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you. And
Now,
I think I've met you before.
you
Your Honor.
have, you are related to Wanda Dallas because you all
Yes.
look alike.
Yes, sir.
She
Thank you very
sat
much.
for me while I was out of town last week.
Oh, wonderful.
No, I'm sorry. She's to sit for me in September while I'm out of town. But I speak to your mom probably once a week or at least once a month. So please tell her she's doing well. Now, are you the one that used to work at Enterprise?
Yes, I did. I'm at the high school here in Forest Park now.
Okay, I think I will come there and rent vans for you for my soccer club all the
Yes,
time.
I remember.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Well, I've retired from that. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, but good luck to you. What you're teaching at Forest Park High School?
Yes, sir. A marketing class here.
Wonderful. And what grade are you teaching?
9th through 12th grade. This
Good.
is
And
my
how are
plan
you?
here. I don't have any students at the moment.
Okay. And you've gotten your teaching certification?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Good for you. I'm glad to see. I wish there were more folks like you teaching our students. Continue to do a good job. It's a thankless job, but we appreciate you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
So they're going to send you your plea form through your email. Okay.
Okay.
You will send it back where you've entered a guilty plea. This will be reduced to a non-reportable offense upon the payment of the $50, which means it will not show on your record. Do you understand
Okay.
that?
Yes, sir.
All right. There will be no charge for being late to court. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Can you please tell them your email address?
Yes. It is BERHANUDALLAS@gmail.com. My first and last name.
Do we have that, Ms. Yates?
I have it. Thank you.
All right. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask me, young man?
No, sir.
All right. Well, good luck to you and continue to educate those young minds. Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Take
Have
care.
a good day.
Okay. All right. Do we have anyone else on the line?
We still have Malcolm Morgan.
All right, Mr. Morgan.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Morgan, your case is being reset. Have you provided them with your name and email address, sir?
Yes, sir. And I also have a question.
What is your question?
Now, with the case being open, would it stop me from getting hired for the city of Forest Park?
I have no idea. I can't imagine that it would, but I don't know.
Okay.
I can't answer that.
So is this something I need to ask the chief?
I would imagine.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So they're going to give you a new reset date. Have you provided your email address, sir?
Yes, sir.
Do we have his email address, Ms. Yates?
Yes, we do.
All right, then, Mr. Morgan, thank you. You can log off. You will receive your reset court date through your email, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, can Sergeant Lewis be dismissed?
Yes, Sergeant Lewis, thank you.
And then also we have Officer Estrada. His case was going to be pre-tried with the solicitor.
Yes.
So I have an announcement on that. If that was Scott Portis's case, Judge,
Yes.
they're going to enter a plea on the on both charges. The stop sign violation is going to be a basic rules. On my calendar, I have the citation issued as driving without a valid license, but it actually is driving on an expired license.
Okay.
So he's entering a plea on the expired license. The fine for the basic rules is $175, and the fine for the expired license is $250.
Okay.
But they're going to do a plea in abstention.
Okay.
So we're just going to email everything to Mr. Fortis's office, and then he will have it paid within 2 weeks.
All right. So we can release Officer Estrada, and that one has been taken care of via a plea in abstention. Madam Interpreter, thank you so much. I don't think that we need your services anymore.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
You have been wonderful, and we will see you very soon.
Thank you. I work a lot.
Okay, that's fine.
Bye.
Take care. All right.
Just
it
a
looks
question,
like what
Miss
is your
J,
question?
just for Miss J, do I send the invoice to her? You know, I'm not very familiar.
Ms. Chavez, you can send it to me, Ms. Green.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. And so we have the gentleman that's in the lobby who is bringing back information regarding his proof of incarceration, Mr. Arnold.
Yes, sir.
All right. Why don't you show them what you have regarding your proof of incarceration, sir?
Okay. I don't have the actual certified copy from Clayton County because my mother didn't think that we would need that because we thought that's something that be pulled up through the system. Okay. The only thing that I had left other than that was were Marvel, me being
All right,
incarcerated.
let me,
Marvel-
I'm gonna advance you forward a little bit on this topic. What dates do you have yourself as being incarcerated, sir? Just give me the dates.
Okay. I was released June the 26th.
Of what?
2021. From
You were released
Clayton
June
County.
26th of 2021. Okay. And when did you go in?
Okay, I was locked up. I did 45 days for violation of probation from a fine, from a charge through Marlboro courthouse. And they the one that sentenced me with the probation, the PPS that I completed with Officer Higgins.
And can someone tell me the date that he got this ticket that would have led to his license suspension?
So Judge, the citation that was issued from the city was December 3rd of 2021. But
okay,
the citation
he missed a date here that led to the suspension.
Well, so the date that the citation that led to the suspension was actually a violation that occurred on June 29th of 2020.
Okay.
The suspension for failing to appear to court was December 31st, but I do not show a year on it. It still has a violation that, according to what he's stating as far as when he was incarcerated, it predates his incarceration.
It does. It does. Okay. So, Mr. Arnold, let me just tell you, if you feel like you are not guilty, sir, we can go forward with your trial. If you want me to bind your case over to Clayton County where you can have a jury trial, I'll be more than happy to do that. But based on what you're telling me, your license was suspended on December 3rd of 2021. Now, the fine for that is $695. If you're eligible for a NOLO, I certainly will accept it, but you need to decide what you're going to do. So tell me what you want to do.
I'd rather keep my plea as not guilty.
All right. Then we will do you want me to keep the case here in Forest Park, or do you want me to bind this over to Clayton County?
Either way, I just want to be able to get all what I've learned.
Then we will.
What I've learned through you giving me a chance to go out to the car. And
let's reset his court date for what we're going to do, Mr. Arnold, is we're going to reset your court date for Forest Park, and we will try your case the next time it comes up on the trial calendar. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's give him a reset court date for his trial.
Your Honor, we have one other in the courtroom.
Okay.
So, he was actually we had listed him as FTA. He is.
What is his name?
Page 7.
Okay.
Thomas Darcy.
Yes. His witnesses have been excused.
And
he's very late. Beatrice Gonzalez has been excused. He has a $50 late fee, and we will give him a new court date.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes.
I didn't receive a link this time of the timing of what time, or the link of how I would get connected to the court system on this reset date, because I pleaded not guilty. And I've been looking through my phone all week long, waiting to see. I thought court started at 9. That's why I came in.
No, our court starts at 8 o'clock.
Okay, well, wasn't I supposed to get some kind of information to give me some kind of time?
Let me do this. Let's assume you thought it started at 9. It is almost 10 now. Okay?
Yeah.
So you late. Okay.
Okay, well,
you're just late.
You were trying to log in at 8:15 is what
No.
I
I didn't never say I tried to log in. I'm sorry if you misunderstood me. I apologize.
Okay.
But I never had the link, ma'am. That's what I was looking for.
Well, here's what
There
we're
was
going to do.
also a letter sent to his house.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Have you moved?
Yeah, I no longer live at.
Well, but if you move, it goes to the address that's on file. So give them your new address today, but they can't track you down. But Miss Beatrice Gonzalez was here. The officer was here. Everybody was here. I'm going to let them give you a new court date, and I'll see you back here on your trial date.
Okay, please do, because
they will give you your new court date today. And if you've changed your address, that's on you. They're gonna go by the one that's on your driver's license.
All right, I also changed my driver's license address.
Right, if you don't, so that's the one, that's your official address, the one on your driver's license. So if
Okay.
you move, that's not something that we can take into consideration. Unless you change that address, okay?
Yeah, but can they send me is it gonna be video or do I come here?
Well, I think in your case, why don't we let you come down to the courthouse?
Here, yes, I would like that, please.
Let's let him come here and everyone else can be virtual. You come here, you physically come here.
Okay.
So our court is always at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
It's always 8 o'clock on a Wednesday. So they're gonna give you your new court date today. We will see you here at 8 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so hold on, she'll give you your new court date. All right, is there anyone else, Ms. Green?
Nope, that is it, Your Honor. And that's
All right. Well, I just want to check in and see how everybody